هنا في كل مكان اهلا ومرحبا بكم. بيتجدد معكم النهارده لقائنا من داخل سفاره جمهوريه سلوفينيا. جمهوريه سلوفينيا بالتاكيد لما اختارت السفاره المتواجده في جمهوريه مصر العربيه كان من 30 سنه تحديدا، وكانت السفاره الوحيده الممثله في الشرق الاوسط وفي الدول العربيه. لذلك العلاقات المصريه وايضا العلاقات الخاصه بدوله سلوفينيا وجمهوريه مصر العربيه علاقات لها طابع خاص جدا. لو عايزين تعرفوا اكتر عنه تابعونا في هذه الحلقه. مشاهدينا في كل مكان، بيسعدنا ان يكون في ضيافتنا اليوم معالي السفيره ماتيا، سفيره جمهوريه سلوفينيا داخل جمهوريه مصر العربيه. Your Excellency, please allow me to thank you so much for this meeting.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It is my honor and my pleasure to be your guest so that we can talk about Slovenia and good cooperation between Egypt and Slovenia. Thank you.
At the beginning, we would like to know more about Your Excellency. Can you please tell us more about your diplomatic stations, the one you have been through before coming here to Egypt?
Yes, of course. I am a professional diplomat and I have been in the diplomatic service close to 30 years now. I started with working in the first Slovenian embassy here in Egypt when I was very young diplomat. Then I also worked in our embassy in Poland, in Warsaw, our embassy in Kiev, in Ukraine. I worked also twice in our permanent presentation to the EU in Brussels. And after that I came to Egypt as ambassador of Slovenia to Egypt.
So Your Excellency, this is the first Arab country that you present your country in it?
Yes, I started my career in Egypt and I think it was my first how to say to meet with the Arab world and I'm very happy that I could return as ambassador.
But this post in Egypt especially, what makes it special or distinguish it?
I think for me this has more than one side what is so interesting here. First of all, Cairo is a huge diplomatic center, a lot of over 140 foreign diplomatic missions. A lot of things are going on. It's a center in the Middle East, so politically the life it's very interesting. Second, the culture, it's not unknown to Slovenians because it's not so far and we have a lot of Slovenian tourists, but at the same time it is different, it is interesting. It has pharaonic and ancient history, but it also has, you know, the modern history and Islamic influence. So it's kind of mixture of many of development of the civilization, and I think it makes it very, very interesting to be here and to be able to experience all of that.
Going back to talk about Slovenia, can you please tell us more about the geographical nature of Slovenia?
Yes, Slovenia is a small country. It's placed in the center of the Europe somehow, but it also has the way to the Mediterranean Sea. It's a very green country. I think we are third in Europe by how many forests we have. We have national parks, a lot of rivers and lakes, mountains, and also a lot of vineyards and fields and cities. And because the population is 2 million, the cities are not as huge as Cairo. They are with a lot of historical old places, and I think it's worth visiting it.
Having this all this size of forest, as Your Excellency just said, makes me think about is wood the main natural resources that really Slovenia is using in industry?
Well, we do have a lot of wood, but our industry it's not only based on the wood. Especially lately is very much focus on the on the IT and the new solutions, and also about the green technology. So I think that this is the future of the also cooperation of the not only Slovenia but the European countries with the Middle East countries, especially big countries like Egypt.
The main aspects of the Slovenian economy is what? Besides the technologies that you have been talking about?
Slovenia has still a production of the many, like we have the well known in Egypt company Gorenje that used to be also have the representation here. It still has actually, but the local one. We have also a production of some machinery, and we have what is important, for example, for the cooperation with Egypt, is the electronic equipment, because there is an Egyptian investment in Slovenia. LCD Electronic bought a Slovenian company, Iskra Emeko. We still have with Egypt also the importance of the production of the water pumps, because we are still selling to Egypt Litostroj water pumps. So there is a wide diversity of the our how to say economy. But as I said before, lately the development in the whole world goes into the direction of the you know, the new technologies, and especially what we see more and more important, green and sustainable technologies.
لازلنا حوارنا مع معالي السفيرة ماتيا بريفولشيك. Your Excellency, can you please talk with us more about the Slovenian people, the customs and traditions, and the way they live their lives?
Yes, Slovenia, it's value. Slovenian people value a lot the tradition and the family life. I would like to mention few of the celebrations that we have as a you know, to keep our traditions. For example, we do have the carnival in February, and it's famous current. This is like a mask or the custom that cover the whole body. And then we have the carnival when the cows are coming from the mountains in the before the winter starts. And this is from the old custom and from the old historical tradition of our people. Slovenia also value a lot the beekeeping. We have the value of the bees. We have the most beekeepers per capita in the whole world, and the people they know how important the bees are in our lives. Then we have other local traditions. Some places are known for producing chocolates, like handmade chocolates. Some places are very famous for producing our traditional food. And I think that in Slovenia the people, they like to come together and gather for the occasion, like when we have all these you know, traditional festivals.
So they are a little bit like Egypt. They are family people.
Yeah, I think that Slovenia has yeah, the family has still not still, but it has high value in the life of the Slovenian people. But also I think that you know, the neighboring cooperation and the meetings and so on, the community is also important. Yes.
When you talked about the mountains and the bees and so you made me anxious to know more about the weather in Slovenia. I think it has something special, because some areas it's very cold and other areas are warm. So you are in between two weathers with two natures, and and to behavior. So can you talk to us more about this? And what does it do with the tourists?
Yes, Slovenia has warm summers and moderate cold winters with a lot of snow in the Alpine region, and I think and in between, of course, spring and autumn, also not so cold. Our tourist season in the summer is focused on visiting the towns and visiting our lakes, also the seaside, and we have also quite a lot of spa, which I haven't mentioned before. So this is focused more in the summer or maybe late spring and early autumn. In the winter we also have tourism, and it's mostly connected with our mountains and the hills and our skiing centers. Because we do value really a lot winter sports, and the skiing, it's like a Slovenian national pride. So a lot of tourists also come in the winter where they can enjoy a really nice nature together with many winter sports that my country offers.
Excellency, being an ambassador of Slovenian here in Egypt makes me anxious also to know about the position of women in Slovenia. How it is?
Slovenia do have very good results when there are compared to the new member states in the European Union. The gender equality is very important, and the government is doing a lot to try to really achieve the equivalent balance and opportunities. We did have during the socialist time in our history, the women did have a lot of rights that actually developed back then, and Slovenia after the independence just continued to work on that. So I think that we have a good picture, or how to say, in this. I do have to say that I was following the recent evaluation of the COVID influence, particularly in this question, and unfortunately the epidemic of COVID did set few of the little bit backwards the situation, especially because we were locked at homes and so on. So the violence against women grew a little bit, and also there is a slightest difference in how many women lost the job and how many men lost the job. So I think that now it's time to work on that as well.
And what if I ask you, Excellency, how do you see the position of women here in Egypt?
I have this possibility to compare the situation when I was here over 20 years ago and now. I think that Egypt achieved a lot of improvement. We have a small group of the lady ambassadors that is informal group, but we meet a lot, and we try to also meet with the Egyptian women on the positions in the not only in the governmental places but also in the business and young women. Me and Ambassador of Portugal, we attended some of the events when the young women and young startup present themselves, and I was really impressed because I think that the women in Egypt know how to address. They know that this is still important topic, and there is still a lot of area that not only the government but also women themselves have to work on. But I think that situation is definitely getting better every day, and more women have a possibility to show their work abilities, and also yes, their desires, how they want to lead their life and so on. And I think that this is a really good prospect for Egyptian women.
Your Excellency, can we please talk a little bit about the Slovenian cuisine? And is there any similarities in between the Egyptian cuisine and Slovenian cuisine or not?
Well, Slovenian cuisine, it's very interesting because Slovenia is a small country, but yet it has an influence of the Mediterranean cuisine, the influence of the more Central European cuisine, the influence of the Hungarian, and then of course also the influence of the Balkan cuisine. I think that there are some similarities between some of the Egyptian food that we know from the Balkan influence, like from the Bosnia and from Serbia and from the other countries from Western Balkan. And but we have a lot of traditional national dishes, and the mixture of all this influence in the traditional national dishes. And I think it's if you go to Slovenia, you will be surprised that in such a small country you find so many different things. The one that is, for example, similar are the meat. How the meat is prepared. It is many similar way than Egyptian. We also use quite a lot of vegetable, but we also use olive oil, which is available also in Egypt, but we do use a pumpkin seed oil, which is which is not known here in Egypt. And as for the sweets, our sweets are not so very sweet like Egyptian sweets, and they are more based with the dough and the raisins and you know, the fruits or the dry fruits that you can find in Slovenia traditionally when there was no import-export of what is for us exotic fruits. So
we had it here also a lot in Ramadan.
Yes,
Ramadan especially.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy that I can be a part of this program and to let all the Egyptian viewers know about the beauty of my country and the good cooperation with Egypt.
مشاهدينا في كل مكان، وبكده انتهى لقاء النهارده مع معالي السفيرة ماتيا بريبولشيك، سفيرة جمهورية سلوفينيا داخل جمهورية مصر العربية. أشكركم لحسن المتابعة وإلى اللقاء.